everyone. Hi there, hi there, hi there. Let's just get all set up here and see if I've got anybody joining me on today's episode of Fast and Fun Projects with Noreen. I am Noreen Smith. I am the Product Development Creative Manager here at Creative Memories. And every Wednesday I get to join you live to do something fast and something fun, some kind of project where we do something fast and fun together. Hello, everybody. Now I'm starting to see all the comments and the thumbs up and the hearts. Thank you so much. Hello, 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 everyone. We've got folks joining us from Iowa, Brisbane, Houston. Sharon's here from the UK. Good to see you, Sharon. We've got Florida joining in, Tracy from New Mexico, Denver, Donna's from Denver, New Hampshire with Lorraine, and Barbara's here from upstate New York. And there's Debbie from Grass Valley. Lots of folks joining in. Janice from Pennsylvania. Someone's joining us from Orlando. And there's my good friend Judy from Boston. So hello, everyone, and welcome. Well, as you know, each and every Wednesday, 5 o'clock p.m. Central Time, we get together here on the Virtual Crop Facebook group and on the Creative Memories YouTube channel to do something fast and fun together. And today we're going to do 3 fast layouts, and we're going to base it on one sketch. So we're going to have lots of fun, and we're going to get 3 layouts done in record time. So it's always good to see everybody hopping on. And oh, there's Candace, my good friend. Hello, beautiful. She's saying, well, thank you. Thank you so much. Always good for my ego. But we're going to do 3 layouts based on one sketch. And I have a little sketch for you, kind of a bonus sketch. I don't have a handout for you, but I will post it in the Facebook group and on the YouTube channel as a comment or as an image so that you can print that out, save it, etc. But I'll be showing that to you in just a couple of minutes. So this month has been, what a fantastic month. So many great releases, so many great promos. We've sold out of certain things. You've got until the end of this week to pre-order your tractor punch, your square tile punch, and your trail sign punch, all 3 of which sold out in really, really quick order. So if you want either or any of those 3 punches that have been so popular, you've got until the end of this week to pre-order them. Then we will basically count up the pre-orders. We will send off another order to get that number of punches manufactured, and then they'll send them to us, and we'll let you know how to get your pre-ordered punch later this summer. So don't forget about that. And of course, we've got the, I think it's just the ladybugs that is left, but we've got the ladybug promo going on. So again, once you get your pre-orders in, you can also choose from your ladybugs punch and papers that we talked about last week. But one thing we haven't talked about this month, and we've talked about Totally Tonals, before in Q1, but we haven't played really a lot with the Q2 Totally Tonals. So we're going to do that today, and that's the 3 different paper packs that we're going to use to create our 3 different layouts. Okay, let me see what else we got here. Someone's using my picture on Facebook. Well, thank you, Kathy. I will definitely look into that. And Beverly's saying she's joining us on YouTube here. Just a reminder that, if you're watching us on Facebook, make sure you sign up and subscribe on the YouTube channel, and vice versa. If you're watching us on YouTube and you also have Facebook, make sure you get into that Virtual Crop Facebook group, because there's so many good things happening in there. Challenges and pop-up promos, virtual crops, and of course, our weekly get together here. So the other thing I want to talk about real quick before I hop over and start scrapping with you is that we've got a new kind of live stream series starting this Friday. So on the last Friday of every month, I'm going to be hopping into the YouTube channel and into this same Facebook group and we're going to do some scrapbooking 101. And this is really aimed at super beginner scrapbookers. We're going to talk about things like, basic elements of a scrapbook page, how to use some of our tools, those kinds of basic things that sometimes we kind of gloss over. And sometimes it's good to go back to the basics. So if you are a CM advisor and you have some beginner scrapbookers, definitely point them our way. Noon CT on Friday, and that's going to be a recurring series on the last Friday of every month. Scrapbook 101. Okay? All right. So much fun. I can't keep up. I know. I tell you, there's so many great products, promos, and projects, I guess, that we are doing here together. So I can't keep up sometimes either, and that's where my calendar is my lifesaver. All right, let's go ahead, and I'm going to pop you over to my my table here, and I've got all three of the beautiful quarter-2 totally tonal paper packs here. I don't have the whole paper pack in front of me. I've just got actually the same 3 papers from each of the packs: tangerine, soft pink, and red. Aren't they gorgeous? I love these colors. They are so warm and rich, and they're going to be great. You probably have already figured out that they go with several things that have already come out in both quarter-1 and just at the beginning of this month. For example, the tangerine and the soft pink, they both show up in the setup camp. The red shows up with on the farm that we released last month. So you're going to see more of these colors throughout the rest of quarter-2. And of course, the colors go perfectly with our exclusive CM cardstock colors. So there is the tangerine cardstock. So the tangerine was meant to go with that. We've got the soft pink cardstock there. And again, totally tonal soft pink goes with that. And then the same for the red. So there is the red cardstock and totally tonal red. I do want to point out that in particular with the tangerine and the red packs, you can pull out a couple of other colors, the pumpkin and the cranberry, and they'll both tonally kind of coordinate there. But again, they're meant to go with those particular cardstock. And the reason that we did this is so that you always have something to work with, even if there's not a theme pack that's current, for example, that will work with your photos. So you can always go with a color-based or a tonal type of scrapbooking look. So I wanted to talk because it was always interesting to me. My background is in fine art and fine art teaching, and it's always interesting to me the psychology of color. So for example, pink, immediately we think of feminine things, women, girls, that kind of thing, love, kindness, romance, and of course it's very much associated with beauty. It's a beauty or a cosmetic color. So, if I'm scrapbooking something to do with a little girl, perhaps pink might be my first choice. Maybe I don't have a lot of other juvenile girl collections, so maybe I'm going to turn to that soft pink, totally tonal. Tangerine, on the other hand, in the orange family, super energetic, optimistic, positive. Orange is one of my favorite colors, and especially paired with blue, that's one of my favorite combinations. But it really is an attention-getting color, and it's great again for young boys, for fresh sort of produce and fresh things, exciting things, energetic things. So again, great masculine color, great boy color, especially paired with blue. So if you don't have something in those masculine, theme packs or thematic collections, you might want to turn to the orange. And then red, of course, it's a color of extremes, right? Extreme emotion, love and hate, anger and passion, very much that super energetic, super dynamic color. lots of adventure associated with that. So again, perfect for something like Valentine's Day, or something about love. If you don't have a love or a romantic collection, you might want to consider the Totally Tonals Red. So I love thinking about all of the ways that I could use these collections, even though that they don't have any kind of icons or imagery on them. They are just tonals and geometric. So think about that the next time you are looking to do something, and you don't have a collection. Of course, last quarter we had baby blue, purple ice, and island water. So again, a different sort of range of colors. Okay, so what I've done is I just mentioned this a little bit ago, but I've pulled the same 3 papers from each of the collections. So I've got kind of this tiny dotted arches sort of pattern. I don't think the camera's going to pick that up. But on the back, we've got some fun multicolored dots. Then we've got a geometric, almost like an argyle type of pattern, diamonds and geometric. And then a tinier, more open sort of diamond on the back. And then we've got these fun sort of burst patterns with the tiny lines of dots on the back. And this could be fireworks, or it could be, flowers or dandelion fluff. There's lots of different things that you might associate with that. But I've chosen all 3 of these because they have a really great sense of contrast. And we are going to basically just use one cardstock, the cardstock color that the Totally Tonals coordinates with, and one of the pieces of paper to create our layouts today. So in that case, we really want to have something that is a good contrast. So for example, with the tangerine background, I think I might use this particular paper because it's got the tangerine in there, but a nice deeper orange as well, and then the white. So you can see how those 3 colors are going to provide a lot of visual interest just from those 2 pieces of paper. So I think that's what I'm going to use for my tangerine layout. And then for my red, these ones are quite a bit darker, but you can see how they pull the red, from especially on the back sides. But I think I'm going to use this really dynamic sort of, again, the geometric, the diamonds, and then the little diamonds are kind of a chain link look on the back. I think that's going to give me a lot of visual interest. The brighter red cardstock, a little bit deeper tone on the front of the paper, and then the white. So I think I'm going to use that for my red layout. And then for my pink layout, let's see, I've used these 2 already. So I think I'm going to end up using this one because we want to use one example of all 3 papers. So here's the soft pink. You can see that this sort of tonal, again, it's hard to see on camera, but it's got these kind of arches. Wonder if it'll show up more if I show you the picture. Not really, no. It's a tiny white arched sort of design. And then on the back is all of those fun multicolored dots. So I think that will be a great combination there. Again, kind of medium, darker, and then the lighter and brighter. So these are the 3 papers that I'm going to use for my layouts today. So let me show you what I have in mind. My paper fell down earlier there. But this is the little sketch that we're going to work with today. And those of you who have joined me before know that I'm a big fan of fast things, fun things, and easy things. So I really want to be able to use just one piece of paper, cut it up, punch it up, etc. And I want to see both of those patterns and create my layout based on that. I don't want to do a lot of fussy things. I also really like to get as many photos on it as I can. So here we're going to get 6 photos. And we're going to trim our 4x6 or 6x4 photos down to 5x3s or 3x5s. And then we're going to trim 3 more down to 3x3s. So this is going to be a super fast layout to create. And it's going to be something that's versatile and you're going to be able to use it with not only totally tonals, but also many other papers. So this can maybe be a go-to for you. So first step, we're going to punch a border from our patterned paper, our double-sided patterned paper. And I've got 3 different borders selected, so we're going to do 3 different ways. Then we're going to turn it around and we're going to cut a 4 by 10.5 inch paper, and that's going to be kind of our little background for our 3 by 3 photos. And then we're going to have a 6 by 12 inch piece that's going to act as a base for our larger photos. So that's really all we're going to do. Then we're going to arrange things. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm just going to leave this sketch. As I said, we don't have a handout for this, but I will post a picture of this sketch with the measurements. So you see your border is going to be about 1 by 12, a 6 by 12 block, and a 4 by 10.5 inch block here. So I will post a picture of this sketch in the comments on the Facebook group and in the comments on the YouTube channel so that you can copy it and have it as a go-to. Okay, so let's start with the red. And we've been talking about the colors and we've been talking about the kind of the geometric patterns. One of the things that I like to think about when I'm choosing a tool to work with is, what is my paper sort of telling me? What direction can I go in that will reinforce what I'm seeing on my paper? So remember that when we looked at this, we talked about how it's got some diamonds, it's got some crisscrosses, it's got kind of almost a little chicken wire sort of, or intersecting diamond pattern on the back. And so when I looked through my punches, what jumped out at me was the X's or the diamonds on the field fence border punch. Now, this creates a fence, you know, with posts and everything, but I did a quick little test and I thought, yes, this is going to work, and I'm going to show you how. So let's go ahead and punch it. I'm not going to set a timer or anything, but I'm just noticing what the time is because I want to see how long this layout takes us to put together. So I've got about 18 minutes past the hour. So we're going to put the paper into the punch. If you've never used a border punch from Creative Memories before, you'll want to start by lining up your paper at one of these 2 black marks at the front of the punch. So I'm just going to slide it in. I like to hold it with my right hand against the back lip, and then you can see that the edge of the paper is lined up with that black line over here. So we're going to go ahead and punch. We're going to move it along until we've got 2 things that we can do. We can look for the little triangle. Can you see that little tiny triangle? It's going to match up with the little tiny triangle on the bottom. And then we can also make sure that the rest of the picture that's printed on the base of the plate, the base of the punch plate, it matches up with the image or the actual punch that we've created, that we've already punched. So once that's all lined up, we can just keep going along. We'll move it along until we get the triangles lined up. Move it along until we get the triangles lined up right there. I know it might be a little bit hard to see on camera, but anytime you have a little triangle, basically it's because the pattern repeats more than once inside the punch. And it just helps that you don't have to, it helps guide you so that you don't have to punch it more and more and more. Okay, so there's our punch. Next we need a 4-inch strip and a 6-inch strip. So let's get our trimmer, and we might have a little bit left over here. There's my 4-inch strip and a 6-inch strip. That's good because I'll just have that little bit of extra, and you can see those little leftover triangles there from where I punched. I don't know if you can see those. But that's going to be our only scrap, really. And, actually, we have to cut this 4-inch strip down to 10.5. So 1 6 by 12, 1 4 by 10.5, and then our punched border. Okay? And that's it. So now what we get to do is we get to kind of arrange and play. And this is where our opposite sides come in. So now, instead of having this as a fence, I'm just going to take little tops of my fence posts off. And you can do that with your trimmer. Or of course, let me grab my scissors. You can just snip all of your little fence post off. I'm just going to do it with my trimmer to make it even faster. There we go. Gently put that back. There we go. And now I've got this great sort of shape that becomes more of a diamond, recurring sort of diamond shape. And I might have to trim just a little bit more there. I didn't get quite close enough. But there's my layout. I'm done. So one border, approximately 1 inch, a 6 by 12, and then my 4 by 10.5. And now I can get all 6 of my photos on there. I can do 3 5 by 3s. And if you think that 5 by 3 is a strange number, just remember that that's basically a 4 by 6, and you're just taking a 1/4 inch off of each edge. So that's not very much when you're thinking about trimming down a photo. Okay, so then I've got 3 5 by 3s and 3 3 by 3s. So I will have to go back and just trim that up just a little bit, but that is pretty quick. I'm showing 22 minutes past the hour, so that was about 4 minutes to kind of cut and arrange. Obviously, it would take me a couple more minutes to actually adhere it and to trim my photos down, but super, super fast and easy. And we've just used that one piece of Totally Tonals with a lot of contrast plus the background. Okay, so that's the first one. So that's our red with the field fence punch. All right, let's do another one. And we're going to switch it up a little bit. One of the things I always like to do when I'm looking at a sketch is to rotate it. And rotating your sketch is one of the easiest ways to get maximum versatility with it. You don't have to even think really about rearranging or doing any kinds of different cuts. You're just going to be arranging the same pieces in a different way. So the previous one, we had lots of horizontal photos. I love square photos because you can cut those from vertical or horizontal. But if you have a lot of vertical photos, we can just rotate our sketch, and we can either have the border along the top with our vertical photos, or we could have it along the bottom. So let's see which looks best. So for this one, I looked at those burst sort of patterns, and I thought, what punch or border maker cartridge do I have in my stash that would kind of echo some of those shapes? So maybe the burst shape or maybe the round shape. And I thought that the double fan chain border maker cartridge would be a great one, because it's going to have that sort of radiating or emanating or bursting sort of pattern. Plus, when you attach it to the edge of something, it kind of looks like a semicircle. So it'll also echo the idea of the circles in the center. So I thought this one would be a good one to try. So let's go ahead and punch our border. And because it's a chain border, it's going to separate itself from the page. I think our last border that I'm going to use does not separate itself from the page. So I'll show you how to deal with that then. But let's go ahead, and we've got the cartridge in the punch holder. We've got the paper in the paper holder. I just did that while I was talking, but if you haven't used the border maker system before, open up the paper tray, slide your paper in, pop that magnetic arm down, and then pop that gray paper tray, and it just sort of snaps away to the back. And then your paper is out the correct distance for you to just slide it into the punch. The little teeth on the border maker cartridges will kind of interlock with the notches in the back of the paper tray. So just slide that in. You'll feel when the notches and teeth are connected. We'll just go ahead and punch. Slide it up until you feel it lock into the next place. And there we go. Debris. That's always takes a minute to clean up after punching. All right, so there's our punch, and I like that. I like that a lot. Again, I really think that sort of goes with the burst effect. So now we've got to do our two pieces. I should actually clean off these little strips from our fence. Let's go ahead and cut our 4-inch piece and our 10-inch piece. Sorry, our 6-inch piece, 4-inch piece, and a 6-inch piece. That's our little bit of scrap. And then going back to our 4-inch piece, we're going to turn it around and cut it at 10.5. So 4 by 10.5, 6 by 12, and our border strip, whatever that turns out to be. Typically, you know, the Border Maker cartridges are about 1 inch wide. Some of our larger border makers or border punches are a little bit bigger. So the good thing about this sketch is basically you have 6 plus 4 is 10, so that leaves you 2 inches to punch your border. And then depending on the width of the border, you'll just have those little leftover strips. So you've got plenty of room to first punch your border and then your two strips. So let's maybe try putting it this way, and we can play around with it, right? Yeah, I like the way that looks because it really creates that sort of semicircle that echoes the circles inside there. So I can just play around with it, arrange it on my page. And I like how this gives a little bit of a frame across the bottom, kind of that nice little sort of edge. And then again, we can come in this time, these would be 3 by 5-inch photos. I love being able to get 6 photos on a single spread or a single page layout. That's awesome. Okay, and then 3 by 3s down here. Okay, so that gives a completely different look from our first one. And of course, I haven't adhered anything yet. So let me just rearrange and adjust slightly. But the exact same layout, exact same pieces that we punched, and it has a really different look. Now, don't forget too that you always have the option of not only rotating it, but you can choose what you think looks best in terms of your papers. So maybe you want that lighter background. Maybe your photos will look better on a lighter background. So maybe that large 6 by 12 piece will be the light color because we have lots of contrast, right? We picked the papers that have lots of contrast. And then we can make our border really stand out by having more contrast against the base page. So again, depending on the photos that you use, you can choose whatever arrangement and whatever, you know, kind of whatever pattern you want to have showing. Don't forget too that an easy way to kind of change this up would be to have maybe your photos, you know, on a bit of an angle. That's always kind of a fun look, and it makes it very whimsical and a lot different than just having them very you know, straightforward and organized. You can also switch out things. For example, if you had one horizontal photo, you could add that down at the bottom, and then maybe you've got 2 verticals and 2 square photos. So you can still get 6 photos in there, but you can just arrange them in a bit of a different way. And I know you can't really see that because I'm using white on the light, but just you can definitely kind of overlap and skew the photos so that you've got a different look. Okay, so that's our second layout. Now let's go to our pink, which is so, so pretty. And we're going to do a slightly different thing. We're going to, again, punch and cut the exact same way. A punch, a 4 by 10.5, and a 6 by 12. Oh, somebody's saying could use a peekaboo pocket too. For sure, you can always add a peekaboo pocket on top and get even more photos. So, but we're going to punch and cut the pink paper exactly the same, but we're going to rearrange our pieces. We're going to arrange our pieces a little bit differently. Now, as far as this one goes, I've been telling you, I promise that there's kind of this arched design. So that made me think about arches and also all of these pretty little sort of bubbles and circles. So what I looked through my punches, I kind of came up with the dollop arch frame punch. Now again, this is a frame punch. You can go all the way around a square, a piece of paper, and create a frame, but you can also of course use it as your border punch. And I thought this would work well for this because not only does it kind of echo the little dots, right? It also kind of echoes the arches, and it's a fairly feminine look, this sort of scalloped pretty arches. It's very feminine. It really wouldn't have the same mood and feel if I used that geometric part of the field fence punch with all of these sort of dots and arches. So again, pairing your colors, pairing your punch designs, pairing your borders, your stickers, your embellishments with the mood and feel that your paper and your photos gives really creates those cohesive layouts. So we're going to use the dollop arches here. Now this one does not separate. So when I punch my border, the border is just going to be on the side of my paper. So I'm going to show you how we can deal with that. And you can always tell when it's an edge punch because it doesn't separate from one end of the mechanism. So you can see here that there's a space between the bottom of the fence post and the top of the fence post and the punch mechanism. So that's how you know that you'll end up with a chain. Okay, same with our border maker cartridges. When you look at the bottom and the top, if you see space, you know that you'll get a frame. Sorry, I keep wanting to say frame. You'll get a chain. But with the dollop arch, it's going to be an edge punch because there's one edge that touches the mechanism of the punch, if that makes sense. But it works exactly the same as the field fence that we just used. I'm going to start by using by placing my paper along one of these to line up with one of these black lines on the front. So same thing, punch. Then we're going to move it along. We're going to match the punched shape up with the shape that's printed on the base plate. Punch, move, and move. And we'll just keep going. Again, this is kind of the same design twice in the punch space, so you can move it along 2 times and it will work perfectly. I think we're on the last punch here. Okay, so there you see that we've got it still on the edge. Not a big deal, and this actually gives us even more versatility. So instead of trimming off the border, the faster way to do it is to go ahead now and trim our 2 pieces. So I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to cut my straight edge, move my straight edge to 4. Okay, and I'll just go ahead and cut my 10.5 inch while I remember. So 4 by 10.5. And then I'll cut my 6-inch piece from here. And then I don't have to worry about any extra. I've got my border now. And even though it's a little wider maybe than some of the others, it actually gives us a little bit more room to play with. So again, 3 pieces. This is the original sort of arrangement. We can also turn it, right? But what about just completely doing something different? So what about, let's maybe put this over to this side, and let's put the border in the middle. And sometimes we forget, we think about borders at the top or the bottom or the side, but having a border in the middle actually creates a kind of a different look to your layouts. So we could do something like that. Of course, we could flip the pieces around. Let's try this side, for example. And I have to say that this is my favorite kind of layout when I'm just kind of playing with the pieces. And as I mentioned, because this is now a fairly wide border, I can actually, tuck it underneath. I can kind of make it as wide or as narrow as I want. So maybe something like that is what I want to have. And then I can go ahead and add my photos again. And I've got another layout based on that sketch, but looks completely different. So maybe my photos are just gonna kind of tuck under the edge of this border. And again, it's gonna depend on what your photos look like and how how big you want to trim them. You might have them just a little bit bigger than that, for example, but you can get up to 6 photos on your page. And again, this arrangement could go whatever way you want as well. So that would be great for vertical photos. If you wanted to make a double page layout, I could see having this, the border on this side kind of pointing out, and then do the left-hand side with the border facing that way. Okay, so you could have a 2-page spread, just use 2 pieces of paper, cut them both to the same size, and it's going to be a really, really fast layout that you're going to get lots and lots of photos onto. Okay, so those are my 3 layouts, three layouts based on the one sketch. And after we finish up here, I will adhere these all together and take some photos and pop them into the comments along with the sketch itself so that you can see them, you can refer back to them, and you can remind yourself that just these 3 pieces are, they're so versatile. You're going to be able to use it again and again. And then as for embellishing, I've got my 3 Totally Tonals sticker packs here. And again, they're just like the papers are the same patterns done in the 3 different colorways. The stickers are pretty much the same, done in the 3 different colorways as well. So I'll show you, right? There's that great tag in the 3 different colors. So you've got lots and lots to kind of play with. All right. So if I was going to be starting to do some embellishing here, because I've got a lot of circles and rounded edges there, I would really look, wrong pack. But I would really look at some of my circular embellishments. There's a pretty, kind of floral embellishment, little hearts, all of those kinds of things I would probably choose for a layout like this. Whereas this one, which has a lot more of the geometrics, that can handle some of those really strong sort of squares and banner shapes, a nice big square, how sweet it is, perfect and amazing. All of those would work really well, or even some of the banners. So you can see that even though we have the same papers and stickers, it's really going to depend on what patterns you choose, what colors you choose, and what your photos look like to decide on your embellishments. But this is going to be pretty easy to embellish because 1 or 2 of the stickers and you're going to be done. So keep some of those ideas in mind. Again, circles, use some of the circular embellishments. For this one, I would kind of go, again, we've got some of those fun bursts, right? Those would work perfectly with that particular paper. And layout, of course, I'd do it in the orange. Although you could mix and match, you could have some of the red stickers on the orange, but I would go and find that burst sticker, which I've used already, but some of these stars would work well. I could use some of those in between the little circular areas to just kind of enhance that. So lots and lots of options. Totally Tonals is definitely not boring. It's definitely not kind of bland. There are so many different moods and feels that you can create with that. And again, just that one sketch can create so many different looks as well. So let's come on back together here. Sorry, you saw my finger there in your screen. But yeah, that's the kind of layouts I love to play with because they're fast, they're easy, they're fun for sure. And they're so versatile. I can do so many different things with that. And for those of you who are always saying, or who, not always saying, I shouldn't say that. For those of you who think, well, if somebody's looking at my book, I don't want them to always see the same layout. It's going to look very different because of the colors, because of your photos, because of the punch you choose to use with it. It will create a completely different mood and feel. Okay, so don't worry about using that same sketch several times, even if it's several times in a row. When your friends and family are going to flip through your albums, they are not even going to notice that it is the same sketch turned or rotated or rearranged. Okay, it's all about getting those memories and photos onto pages quickly and easily and enjoying them with your friends and family. Okay, so I hope you give that a try. As I said, after I finish up here with you in just a moment, I will go back, adhere everything, and post some photos, and of course, including the photo of the sketch so that you can use that as well. Okay? Awesome. Someone's saying, I liked how you tilted the photos for movement. Yeah, simply just tilting your photos, that creates an angle, and angles are always dynamic. Angles always make the eye move throughout a layout. So if you're looking at your layout and you think it maybe looks a little bit plain or boring or what we would call static, try tilting your photos or tilting some of the paper shapes that you have, putting something on an angle, and that will create that dynamic sense of movement. Okay, so yeah, that's a really easy way to create some interest and movement in your layouts. Fast and easy, and Debbie's saying that she actually kept up. I can't wait to see your layout, Debbie. I hope you were able to make one or two. And again, if you didn't scrap along with me today, I hope you get a chance to do so. I did have a comment a couple weeks ago. I think somebody said, well, you're using products that we haven't got in our hands yet. And we understand that. And really my intent is to show you a variety of ideas that you could use with the products as they come out. So it might help you to decide if you want to purchase a product. It might help you, and maybe you've already ordered it, but you don't have it yet. It might get your wheels sort of turning so that you know what you can do with the product when you get it. And of course, you can always come back both in the Facebook group and on the YouTube channel. There's actually a playlist of all of the Fast and Fun Projects with Noreen episodes on the YouTube, Creative Memories YouTube channel. So you can always find those recorded versions of our live time together, and you can always go back and watch them again and again and again and again. So it might help you decide whether you want to order something, and it might give you ideas for what to do with your products when you get them. But the reason that I like to show you what's new and what's happening right now is just like last week, I wanted to show you both of the promo bundles, the Ladybugs and the Unbelievable bundle, because they were on special for that week. As we went through the rest of the week, the Unbelievable sold out, and there's just the Ladybugs left. So if I had waited until this week to share some ideas for the promo, you would not have been able to order the Unbelievable bundle. So I hope that sort of helps you understand why sometimes you might not have the products in your hands to scrap along with me. But I always invite you to go back to the recorded versions of our time together and follow along as you make your layouts after the fact, okay? And don't forget to share them with us. We love to see what you are doing. We would love to see what you do with this particular little sketch and how you come up with something completely different, how you change the mood and the feel based on the color or the paper or the punches that you use. Someone saying it always makes me want to buy everything. Buy everything and try everything, right? It's so much fun, so much fun. All right, so I'm going to leave you, but I do want to let you know that next week will be a pre-recorded Fast and Fun. I will actually be at home office next week. I'm heading over to Minnesota. The product development team is getting together, and we are going to spend an entire week planning some awesome products and promos, and it's going to be so much fun. And we're working well ahead into next year, so I won't have anything necessarily to share with you, but down the road, a year from now, I'll say, hey, remember when I went to Minnesota? This is what we were working on. So I'm going to be in Minnesota, and hopefully I'll share a couple of photos with you. But there will be a pre-recorded Fast and Fun next week, and we're going to talk all about embellishments. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And again, tune in, get some ideas, and then you'll be able to use your stash or the products that I'm showing next week after the fact. All right? Okay, everybody, thanks very much for spending some time with me today. Look for the photos of the finished layouts later tonight or tomorrow. We'll definitely share those, and I hope you give that sketch a try. All right? Okay, we will see you in the pre-recorded video next week, and I'll see you live in 2 weeks. All right, bye-bye for now, everybody.